Theravada Buddhism. First, what does the word Theravada mean? Theravada is doctrine of elders. That is the teaching of elders. There will be many old monks who are going to be present in the disciples of Theravada Buddhism. They are going to teach all those conservative thoughts of Buddhism. And Theravada Buddhism is all about preserving the culture and traditional activities of the very old Buddhist principles and thoughts. That is why it is called as a small vehicle from Mahayana principle and disciples. So Theravada Buddhism is the age-old concept, very old concept, and they follow all those Buddhist teachings very conservatively and traditionally. And the Pali is their sacred language. There is all those scriptures in Theravada are written on Pali language, and there are three primary important scriptures from the Pali language. One is Vinayana, and the second one is Sutta, and third one is Abhidhamma. So Vinaya Pali language states that to how to follow the monastic guidelines and principles in the Theravada principle. And second one is Sutta. It's about the teachings of Buddha, and Abhidhamma, it's about scholarly practice of Buddha that is written in all those academic things and all. And Theravada Buddhism strictly follows this Vinaya Pali culture, that is how to be monastic and preserve all those traditional and cultural activities among all the Buddhist disciples. So that is why it is a very age old culture. It emerged after the death of Buddha, after 100 years after the death of Buddha, and it adheres to strictly followed by the Vinaya Buddhist principles and how the teachings of Buddha should reach all those disciples. It is its main core principle. Key beliefs and practices of Theravada Buddhism. As you know that Siddhartha just left out from his kingdom and were in search of the inner peace. He attained the enlightenment. Yes, the Buddha taught that how to attain the inner peace, how to get rid of the Ananta call, as what we are living with this body is not permanent. We are not living in a permanent soul. This is not a fixed one. We need to get rid of the fixed thought and how to achieve the happiness of this is not a permanent self. So that is the teaching of Buddha, which is a key belief in Theravada Buddhism. And what they do to reach this thought is they do two type of meditation in Theravada Buddhism. One is called as concentration Buddhism, and second one is called as meditation Buddhism. The concentration Buddhism is about you need to focus on one single point to attain that calm, peaceful mind, like a river, like a river without a ripple. So without a ripple, the river will be very calm, right? So you should be in that state of mind to reach that stillness, to find the peace within yourself. And the second thought of meditation is about mindfulness meditation. You see that you need to be very present in the thought of what it is in your mind. So if you are seeing this video, what you're feeling now, if you're feeling very sad, you should be worrying that okay, I'm feeling sad. No, I should not dwell in this thought for more than 2 minutes or so. I need to get into some playing video games, or I need to distract myself by getting into Insta, something like that. But mindfulness meditation, which teaches that if you're feeling sad, you need to accept that. You need to indulge in that mindfulness activity of yes, I'm sad. Yes, I'm very sad. What the thought is trying to say to me. So why it is coming? All those mindfulness. You need to recognize that. You need to recognize whether you are happy, sad, or grieving for any loss. You need to accept all those. That is the mindful meditation which is telling. So as like a river, if you catch all those from this mindful meditation, and if you are going to be still in the concentrated meditation as a river, you can recognize that your thought process and feelings changes time to time as the river changes its shape when reaching the new path. So that is the core benefit of these two meditations, which is a good belief from them, and which can still be followed by any person, as the meditation is very good. And apart from the meditation, to achieve achieve the inner peace and happiness, they also follow five percepts. The five ethical guidelines that Theravada Buddhism teaches is: you should not steal from anyone, you should not kill anyone, you should not indulge in sexual behavior, harmful sexual behavior with anyone without their consent, and you should not indulge in form of intoxicants, you should not lie. So those are the five ethical principles that Theravada Buddhism states, which is very important. Five percepts alongside the meditation, where they also believe that there is a law of karma. If one indulge in any form of these five practices in their lifetime, they are going to suffer, and the rebirth is on hands, and there is not going to be an eternal God, but one individual is responsible for his own actions, which means that if you're going to indulge in any harmful behavior, you are responsible for it, and your karmic notes are noted down that you have indulged in these sort of behavior, which is very bad for your next rebirth. In order to avoid all those rebirth sufferings, and to escape from this non-permanent soul, to attain the enlightenment, one should follow this meditation and have a calm mind to reach compassionate kindness and impermanent self of oneself, to reach that happiness. That is about the key beliefs of Theravada Buddhism. The art of letting go. So the story states about one old man who voluntarily offered a special afternoon meal to the monastery which was there during the peak of Theravada Buddhism. The story states about that, and the old man stated that he is ready to offer the special meal, but the nuns in the monarchy should be able to do all those cookings for the next afternoon, so that everyone can get the special meal on that particular day. And some group of nuns were very happy that okay, we are going to get a good amount of tasty food tomorrow, and we can get rid of at least for one meal from that regular meal which is not so tasty. And another group of nuns thought that why should we consider the tasty buds and all, why should we go for tasty food, but if we get all those ordinary foods daily, why should we waste our time in preparing all those foods and all. So there was one nun in particular, group A, who thought was very excited for it, very obsessed for it. The next day special meal, for which she even lost her sleep during the previous night. She didn't sleep well. She was very very excited and obsessed and self-centered. Like, okay, I'm going to get all the tastiest meal tomorrow. For the one particular day, it is going to be very enriching and all. But the other group people, they were they thought that it is just a waste of time, but okay, as the old man is offering, we should not avoid someone who's volunteering, right? So they, okay, let's sleep tonight and we'll get the meal whatever they gave tomorrow, like that condition. So the next day arrives and the meals were prepared with very very delicious creams, and all those all those meats, everything were prepared at that time, and they were offered to these people. And the group A people, whereas the particular girl, we said that she lost her sleep because thinking of all those imaginative special food in her mind. And when the food was ready and they were given to everyone, even the group of people in B, they who thought it as a waste of time, they even enjoy the meal and they said, okay, it is very good, thank you for your food and all. But group this particular girl from group A, who was very excited, everyone noticed that everyone thought that she will have many many rounds of eating food. But what, for their surprise, she only had two bites. And they asked, why you didn't have all those meals? She said that it is very salty for my need. I thought it would be sugary or else less salty, something like that. So this story completely explains us that we should not have expectations for the future events. We should even the future event happens in the present, and it is apart from our expectation. We should accept that. We should let go of our obsession, self-centeredness. That is what the Theravada Buddhism states, that we should not clinch to all those imaginative thoughts we get into our head. So to attain the true selfless happiness and find peace, we should indulge in calmness and peacefulness to follow all those perceptions which was said by Theravada Buddhism. Why Theravada Buddhism is called a small vehicle when compared to Mahayana, a large vehicle? So here, if we get deep into this context of the question, we can see the stepmother of Buddha, Mahaprajapati Gautami. She was very keen in indulging in all those sort of enlightenment activities. She even asked Buddha to let her as a nun and to reach all those, all those. Self meditation practices to reach that enlightenment path as same as men did at that time. But Buddha was really hesitant at that time. Even Buddha introduced bhikkhunas and bhikkhunis concept. Bhikkhunas means monks, and bhikkhunas means monk, and bhikkhuni means nun. But he was very, he was not actually very comfortable in allowing the nuns to follow the same path as monks, whereas the early Buddhist concepts slowly stated that the bodhisattvas can only be man and it could not be women. So it is one of the greatest criticism that the early Theravada Buddhism felt, and because of which the Mahayana just split from the Theravada Buddhism, and it said that anyone, even the women, can become Buddha. So that is one of the greatest thing. Even Buddha said, okay, the nuns can indulge in all sort of enlightenment activities as such monks, but he just put all those eight principles where they can't be doing all those things exactly as monks, but still they can do. But similarly, any sort of bodhisattvas cannot be women. That is one of the early criticism faced by the early principles of Theravada Buddhism, because of which Mahayana and Hinayana concepts developed. All those eight Gurdava principles. The first principle is about the nun. The nun should, there is a woman as a nun, should bow down before the monk. That is what is seriously, opposed and questioned by the Mahayana. Why should she, as a nun in the higher position, why should she bow down in front of monk? She's also same, right? Why should a man only attain the enlightenment path, and why should she also attaining the enlightenment bow down before a monk? This is one of the first point. And the second point is about she should not spend the rainy season in the monastery when there is no monk, there is no man monk who's practicing Buddhism is in there. She should not be there, which clearly states that she cannot be alone by her own, which is stating for her safety. Where a nun who is in the path of enlightenment, how can she be just dependent on some monk? So this one is a second criticizing point. And the third one is about when she is going to reach the higher ordination, that is when she need to reach the higher position in following all those Buddhist activities of enlightenment, she should get approval from, especially from the monks and from nuns also, but especially from monks, which means that the power is power of acceptance, or power of getting, okay, you can do this, or you cannot do that and all. So all those power from this point you can see that only lies in the male monk. And the third point is about this, and the fourth point is about you cannot teach the monk unless until he asked it, and you can only teach him in private. Unless and until you should not do that in private, even if he asks for that. So you can see how they, how they consider their monk as more prestigious than the nun. And the fourth point is about you should not criticize them. You should not criticize especially the monks, even though he is going to do the thing that is apart from the teaching. Even though if you do that, you should not raise your voice against him or her. So that is the fourth and fifth point. And sixth one is about the nun must be respecting the all the training rules that are stated in the monastery, and most of the rules will be framed by the monks only. So it is also very ridiculous. And the seventh point is about the nun should not be allowed with the monk, particular monk, in any secluded places or restricted places, something like that. So it is also is okay. It is okay. from the 8 points, it is okay, because we can even state that the monk should not be allowed in the from any sort of separated places, right? This is okay. And the 8 point as the last point is, should ask for forgiveness, and none should, if she indulged in any sort of bad behavior, she should ask for forgiveness all of a sudden. And she should not formulate any rules, only obey the rules. So these are all the things. The nuns were very inferior, and that's why Theravada Buddhism lost its disciple. Most of the Mahayana disciples just graded off this because of this concept. So that is about the Theravada Buddhism, and I'll see you with next concept in the next video. Until then, stay happy and good evening. Bye.